research marketplace, a marketplace between academic researchers and participants, evolved into a data annotation platform. So we'll be focusing a lot on how we did research into this new space of data annotation. So I'll start with giving an introduction about what is Prolific. So Prolific started as a marketplace between academic researchers and participants who took part in their study. So academic researchers would come to Prolific's platform, and they would be able to do different kind of research, like sending out surveys, interviews, diary studies, longitudinal studies, etc. What our researchers really liked about Prolific was that they could collect a large amount of data in a very short time, almost under 2 hours. And at the same time, they were paying participants a very fair compensation. But what researchers really liked were our participants. Prolific has a diverse demographic of participants, which means we have participants who are, who look different, who speak different languages or of different ages. And researchers are able to find the right kind of participant that they want to target to. So for example, if they're from a scientific background and they're doing scientific studies, they can ask for participants who have if they've taken a blood test in the last 2 years, etc. But not only that, Prolific shows representative samples, and it gives representative samples to researchers. Now, you must be wondering, what are these representative samples? Representative samples, they mirror diversity and characteristics of a population. And when the findings of these samples are applied on a generalized population, you don't get biased or skewed data. So this is something that is basically the forte of Prolific. And with 200,000 engaged participants, it's really possible for Prolific to provide representative samples for a large part of the world. But before I talk a little bit about what kind of research we did and what challenges we had, I would love to do a fun exercise with everybody. So, ready? What I'll do is I'll show 3 statements, and if you agree with the statements, thumbs up. And if you disagree with the statements, thumbs down. Yes? Easy? Okay, I'll start. So, pineapple belongs on pizza. Nice. Look around and see how everybody's faring. All right. Next. Great leaders are extroverted. I see lots of hands up, some in between. Okay. Long hours are key to success. Okay, mostly down. All right, lovely. So, we all have our different views and different perspectives. And these different views and perspectives are created by our upbringing, our cultural backgrounds, our experiences in life. And those different perspectives, those personal perspectives, they not only form our worldview, but they also form our biases. So for example, not some people would have a personal preference and would not like pineapple on pizza. Or some people might assume a lot of things about other people, like great leaders have to be extroverted. Or cultural biases, which is long hours, are key to success, Maybe some people worked in an environment where working long hours meant it would lead to success. However, these views, they don't paint like full picture, and they're just part of what we have thought, and it contains a lot of biases. And artificial intelligence, especially artificial intelligence models, are pretty much like that. You can imagine artificial AI models to be like an eager student, waiting to learn everything from everyone, but also the mistakes that we people are making, like what humans are feeding. For example, let's take an example of, you have your favorite recipe of your grandma that you would like to share with a family member. Maybe you want to pass it down. And you're writing that recipe, but you made a mistake, like one mistake or maybe two mistakes. And now that family member is baking those cookies, they will always bake that cookie with that same mistake till someone goes and pinpoints and says, that bit is wrong, that was not part of the grandmom's cookie recipe. So I think we have to be very, very careful when we're feeding any kind of information to our AI models, especially thinking about how our biases affects those. So I'm coming back to the story. I told you, Prolific, we have these amazing ways of collecting data. We're really fast collecting data, and we provide a representative sample. About 2 years ago, just a little bit before ChatGPT was released, we saw a lot of AI companies come into Prolific. And we realized that they were also looking for these aspects. They wanted a large amount of data. They wanted this data to be represented really well so that their models don't hallucinate. And they wanted this data in a very quick fashion. One of our clients, he actually said, the main barrier in developing AI is the data gap. We have 10 examples in our training data set, which is nowhere near enough. The question we all in the AI sector have now is where do we get the quantity and quality of structured, usable data set required? And this made us realize that we have all the elements that would help build very ethical and models which would be of really good quality. But at the same time, we realized that our platform was not really built for data annotation. AI researchers could use it, but it was not perfect. And the reason was that AI researchers were using third-party systems with Prolific. So what they would do is they would use a third-party system to add their data there and add instructions in that system, and then they will integrate it with Prolific and share it with the participants. But what happened in that was that we had to ask participants to copy paste the passwords of these third-party system and from Prolific, and then add it onto those third-party systems. And that was not a really good user experience. Participants were making a lot of errors. It was a lot of back and forth. It was really confusing, using for researchers using Prolific just to find participants, and then another third-party tool to actually add their data and add instructions on that. And what we also realized that Prolific, even though it could handle a large amount of data, it was not really at enterprise level. So at that moment, Prolific's team decided that now, we should be building our own integrated AI data annotation platform, and basically a tool that can handle enterprise level data, but at the same time provide really good user experience for both researchers and participants. As this was a really new field for all of us, because we were all coming from academic side, and with academic users and researchers and researchers who were working in scientific institutions. This was a very new area for us. So we wanted to really research more about AI researchers, but it was not a very smooth journey, let's say, into that. And one of the reasons for that was that AI is a very competitive and confidential landscape. So the researchers, AI researchers that we were talking to, were almost all of them were under NDA. So we couldn't understand what exactly their project was, what was the end goal they wanted to reach with this data, or what were their design methodologies, which is super important when you're annotating. So that proved to be a big challenge for us, because we were struggling to understand what is the workflow that they follow. What are the needs? What would be the end goal that this new data annotation platform that we are creating should achieve? And another challenge was that in general, AI researchers are quite small in number. So to find researchers who were outside our client base proved to be a massive challenge. We tried many interesting and creative ways, which I think Adam will touch upon, but it was one challenging task to find them. And thirdly, the AI researchers that we were in touch with, who were our clients, they were quite time poor. So there were many times we were sitting with our sales teams and doing this, listening into their calls and trying to understand the wider picture. But it was still quite challenging to understand fully what was their workflow and what they wanted to achieve. So now I'll hand over to Adam to talk about how we overcame those challenges and what approach we took. Adam?
Thanks, Vasu. I must say I feel more comfortable speaking where so many people agree that pineapple should be on pizza. That was a big thumbs up for that one. So when I joined Parakh a couple of years ago, this was the first time I dealt with building products building products for sort of large enterprise businesses as our customers. So how many people work in B2B? Nice, yeah. So some of those challenges, maybe you're familiar with it, but certainly it was ones that we overcame, and it was new to me. I'd come from a B2C environment where getting the customers was something that was quite easy to do. So how we approach this, I basically want to share like 3 of the sort of key lessons that I took away from going through this process. But finding bold and creative ways to reach users was an absolute must. And if, like me, you're a bit socially awkward and find going up to people at events is super cringe, then yes, you have to overcome that barrier, or at least I did. And that was about going to AI events, so going to AI conferences, approaching individuals that were experts in this space and actually learning from them. What were their needs and how could we meet them with this sort of annotation product that we set to build? And there was some examples where we were at an AI conference in Amsterdam and just going up and actually not physically grabbing time with one of the AI researchers at IBM. And even just a 15-minute chat over coffee was so enlightening about the process that they were going through and some of the things, the gaps in the market that they were looking to fill, and actually how we could help them. And actually, we were also fortunate enough that one of our targets of customers that we did a little bit of user research with, we were able to bring him in initially as a consultant, and actually that's now expanded out into there's an entire team formed around AI research within Prolific. So we're sort of going beyond just researching and understanding our customers. We're sort of embedded the customer in our process. What it means is we can sort of bring them along the journey and build these products with us. Sales and customer success have been our absolute best friends when dealing with these large enterprise customers. So it's not possible to jump on a user research call every week with our customers, sadly. Just their time is too scarce, as Vasu said. So accessing our sales and customer success team and really involving them in all of our product ceremonies was crucial to making sure we were making the right decisions and building the right capabilities. We also really, where we weren't always able to, or we had a few few user testing sessions with new and prototype versions of the capabilities we were building. We also sort of bolstered them with our sales and customer success team. And the feedback from those individuals wasn't directly from our customers, it actually was really representative of a wide range of their needs. And then lastly, we were really fortunate at Prolific that we actually are best pals with our sales team, and they are then inviting us on to those calls with prospect customers, and they record them as well, so it means we can access. And what I would say was watching or joining calls where it was about a completely different topic, so it might be on board with a customer or troubleshooting a problem, even though it might not have been about their data annotation needs, it was really enlightening for us. I did have on this slide, discard your UX purists, but I was told I shouldn't have that on a slide in front of a bunch of UX professionals. So I changed it up a little bit and I said, frameworks don't drive excellence, but understanding does. What I mean by this is I came into Prolific expecting to sort of utilise my tried and tested methods of gaining research or carrying out research, using that to gain a level of certainty about the products we're going to build. That wasn't possible. So ultimately just embracing that ambiguity and looking for the signals within our customers' behaviour. And ultimately looking to increase confidence, but not expecting to reach a point of certainty. And then finally, finding the data and understanding the insights was really important. So I mean, it's probably stating the obvious that we all use data to inform our decisions. But I think what was key here was that the data, in large part, didn't exist in the way that we wanted it to. So we had to really look at what data points we did have that help us understand the customer behaviour. And in some ways, we sort of had to create the data. So we looked at how our current customers were using our system and some of the challenges our prospect customers were facing that we wanted to solve. And we started categorising those requests and really trying to understand what signals that gave us. I'll go into a little bit more about that in a second. So what did we learn ultimately about the sort of AI development process and those user needs in that space? I'm hoping to share about that in the next couple of slides. So ultimately, the AI development lifecycle at a very high level looks something like this, where our customers, who are either sort of foundational model creators, they are sort of big tech companies, or they maybe are utilising some of those foundational models and actually building on top of that for specific solutions. They will typically start with an initial data set, and that data set will be something completely unstructured, so it will be a collection of tweets, articles, something that they start with. They then require human input, and this is of course where Prolific comes in, to then structure that data set and turn it into training to then enhance the AI models, the capabilities, and train the AI models. It'll then go through a process of evaluation to then essentially determine, is it ready to be deployed out into the world? Is the solution safe? Is it ready? Sometimes, typically, this process will go a few times round, just to essentially, if we had more detail on here, I would probably have called this step like a stage of fine-tuning, where you're continually evaluating and then sort of capturing that human input into the model. Ultimately, what that does is it allows our customers to deploy and launch that. The part that I really want to focus in on today is how we helped our customers take that initial data set and capture the human input to then train their models. So an initial data set is ultimately whatever collection of data points that our customers started with. So these organisations that were building AI solutions had whatever their initial data set was. That was sort of really the specialist area that they wanted to train a model in. And that would typically come in one of sort of four what we would call modalities. Those modalities are going to be text-based, audio, image, or video. And as you can imagine, so text-based is going to be much more useful for large language models, whereas image is going to be for more vision models. And this was how those four modalities looked in our customer base, well, customer and prospect customer base. So the majority of our customers were actually trying to turn text-based data sets into training for large language models. So that's the area that we focus in on. If I then go into that second step of the process, it's going to be human input. So how do we help those users take that text-based data set and then actually capture the human input? essentially human input is very obvious, but it refers to whatever process the human entities are interacting with the data set. And there's many different ways that our human entities can interact with the data set to then essentially label it or make it structured for AI training. But that's something like, they could be scoring something, so they might see an article, they might score it. They could also see an article and maybe select from a drop down that determines what the topic is about, or give it a score. To bring some of that together, what we sort of consolidated our learning. So we understood that we needed to create a product that allowed our users to upload their initial data set, to then configure the human input method that was really had to be tailored to their needs because there was many diverse needs across that space. We wanted to then connect that really deeply with Prolific's core platform to enable high quality data from a diverse group of our humans, which, as Vasu talked through, is like really Prolific's unique selling point, and actually getting that data super quickly, which you can see is also one of our key advantages for using Prolific. And ultimately, this led to our product, which is AI Task Builder. So this is our AI annotation product, and this is deeply embedded within the Prolific platform. And what's fantastic is we actually launched this today, which is nuts because Vasu and I were like slacking on the way here. But prior to launching, we opened up to a select list of customers, and what's great is we've already got a number of strategic accounts that are forefront of AI using this for their annotation task, which is fantastic because it really means that we're going to be able to meet those needs, and some of those strategies we employed during the user research phase really worked. This is actually one of many products that we've launched in, and ultimately our goal here is to bring this high quality human data to the AI world to make sure that it's been developed in the right way. The thing at this point I was asking myself, like, what signals do we have that we're getting this right? So as of today at Prolific, we've supported over 1 million data collection projects across different companies are running these projects, and within those projects, over 100 million batches of data have been submitted by our participants, and all of this. What's really important to us in this phase is that those participants are paid really fairly. So we've actually paid out over £126 million to the participants that are taking part in that research, and our participants are paid far more than most of the other sort of panel providers that are really cheaply paid labour, which is something that continues to be important to us and really is how we maintain our high quality data. And all of this really contributes towards supporting thousands of customers developing safe and ethical AI development. The last thing I want to finish on is actually a testimonial from one of our customers. It kind of brings together that bottom statement. So Novoic is one of our customers, and we love working with this company. They are doing fantastic work, and this really shows the sort of good that AI can do. So they're building AI software that can, using different signals from voice and input, you can actually detect cognitive impairment, and specifically Alzheimer's really early in individuals. So fantastic work that's really important, and we're really happy to support them. But this is what they said was great about using the platform. So they were really impressed with the quality of the data, as well as the speed of data acquisition. So two of the things that we know we enable our customers to do. But I think what's even more powerful is that because of the diverse representation across the platform, they've also been able to collect data from segments that are typically underrepresented. And this really goes back to the piece that Vasu was talking about at the beginning, which is that if you don't have a fairly representative sample of the population, you're literally going to always have those biases come in within the AI models. And so to be able to support a company like Novoic with this and make sure that they are developing technology in an equitable manner is something that we care a great deal about. That's us. If you do want to find out more, scan this, come and have a chat to us, we'll hang about at the end. And yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for the prolific speakers? I will invite you to come back. Please.
First of all, thank you for a very interesting presentation. I was just curious about like how do you ensure that the database is diverse group of humans, the way you phrased it. And I guess the second part of the question is how do you verify that the participants are who they are, who they say that they are?
It's a great question, and one that we think of this a lot. So how do we ensure that our pool is diverse? So we have a combination of things, and we sort of have a very large pool, which is great, and we ask the individuals a lot of questions to make sure we understand exactly who they are, so that they are representative of the population. We also have a very long waiting list for our participants because the areas that we are sort of demographics that we are oversubscribed in, we actually just have to put those individuals on the waiting list. And what it means is we also will actively go out and seek almost like recruit, if you like. So we have an entire team dedicated to recruit participants. Sorry, what was the second part of the question?
How do you verify?
Oh yeah, Vasu, you're going to answer that.
Yeah, I can answer that. So yeah, we have like a verification process. It's very similar to how banks are doing. Where you actually have to add maybe a passport or a license, so it shows that you are who you are. So that's one way of verifying. There are other ways, which is like we're able to detect if you're saying that you are applying from US, that you're really applying from United States, or there's a fraud, somebody's coming from Nigeria. So we have those detections in place. We also have waiting lists, as Adam said. So we make sure that, let's say in our pool right now, let's imagine they're 50-50, male and female. And we know that like in coming months, maybe because we have some data, that female participations will dip. Then we allow more females to join in of a particular, let's say, age group or from a particular country. It depends. So basically, we regulate our participant pool so that it's always represented.
One more thing I just want to share a funny anecdote. So our participants all share like already on TikTok about how much money they've made or that sort of thing. And we used to have a problem with where our pool was kept motivated in Wales, and then a particular TikToker shared how much money she made, and it literally blew up. And within so many people in the room, and it ended up completely shifting it because that TikToker had more of a female following, so we actually now have the inverse where it's more female. So it kind of solved the problem in one hand and created another one for us.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for the